Now see what I've been telling you guys, most of these 1800 rated players lack patience. I want you to learn something from these guys. The problem with most intermediate level players is that they like eating free food. They don't eat to live, they live to eat. Bishop e6 is the best move in this specific line. Okay, so here we go, first game, and I'm playing against an 1890 rated opponent. So let me go e4. Let's see what my opponent is going to. Okay, so the Scandinavian defense on the board. e4 c5 is the Scandinavian defense. Can I try the Tennyson Gambit or maybe the Leonard Gambit beginning with pawn takes? If queen takes, I'm gonna resign. I'm just joking. My idea is to go knight c3, then pawn to b4. That's the Leonard Gambit. So I should begin with knight c3, expecting black to go queen a5, then pawn to b4 later on. So knight c3 first. Okay, so there we see queen d8. I really wanted black to play queen f5. I guess I should go knight f3, hoping to see bishop g4, and then I'll play bishop c4, then knight e5, and later on met black on f7 with my bishop. Probably I have won games like that before. Okay, pawn to c6. Most of my opponent play bishop g4 by this time. So let me go bishop c4 first, inviting bishop g4. So there we see bishop f5. I really wanted black to play bishop g4. Maybe let me entice him by playing pawn to g4, and then I'll go knight e5 next, sacrificing my queen. So g4 is a pawn sacrifice. Bishop c8. He didn't take my pawn. Maybe he didn't just see it. Let me give him one more chance to go wrong by going knight e5. Oh, e6 is coming, so d4 first. So d4, hoping to see bishop takes g4 this time. See, I told you. This is how we trap opponents. Chess is more psychological than physical at times. I can also take on f7 first and then go knight e5. But let me go knight e5, you know, sacrificing my queen on d1. Now see what I've been telling you guys, most of these 1800 rated players lack patience. They are too materialistic. They like eating. I don't mean to insult, but I want you to learn something from these guys. The problem with most intermediate level players is that they like eating free food. They don't eat to live, they live to eat. If you know what that means, let me know in the comment section. Again, that's not an insult, it's a lesson that someone must learn. You were never meant to be an 1800 rated opponent forever. It's time to level up. Let me do a quick analysis of what I was expecting to happen in the game. So I started with pawn to e4 and my opponent played d5 on the first move. Then I just went on to take the pawn on d5, you know, expecting black to take back, which he did. So queen takes d5. After this, I played knight c3, expecting black to play queen a5, after which I would have played b4. Let me just show you the famous Leonard Gambit trap that I wanted to try out in this game. So after queen a5, I was prepared to go pawn to b4, offering black to take my b4 pawn with his queen, and the idea was not to go rook b1 attacking the queen, no, but knight b5, intending to capture on c7 with check. And so what most of my opponents play after knight b5 attacking the pawn is queen a5, queen back to a5, defending the c7 pawn. And this is when I go bishop c4, targeting the weak f7 pawn somehow, because you know what happens is that most of my opponents play pawn to c6. At least most people on Lichess, not just my opponent, but guess the move in this position. It's so amazing that most people don't see this coming. Bishop takes f7 check. The whole idea is that if black takes with his king, well, that is almost game over because of queen h5 check. Again, most people on Lichess block this check with their g-pawn, but that just invites the weird looking knight d6 check, discovery on the queen as well. So on the next move, black is gonna lose his queen. And this trap is similar to another trap that occurs in the Sicilian defense. Let me just show you how that goes before I challenge another opponent. Black may respond with pawn to c5, the Sicilian defense, but after this, you can just go ahead and develop your opening moves normally. Knight to f3, d6, d4, then they are going to take most of the times, and after you take back, they play knight f6, after which to go bishop c4, inviting black to take your free pawn on e4, so that now you can surprise them with a bishop sack on f7, or probably go queen h5 first with the idea of going queen d5, targeting the weak f7 pawn and the knight. To stop this, black players play pawn to e6, but this is when you can surprise them once again with the move bishop b5 check. And believe you me, most of your opponents will block this check with their light squared bishop, not with the knight, because that looks logical. But after this, you can simply sacrifice your knight on e6 while attacking their queen. By the way, black's pawn on f7 can't take your knight because it is pinned by our queen to the king. So black plays queen a5 check, trying to run away from the knight. But this is when you can block the check with your bishop while attacking the queen. And when your opponents take the bishop with their knight, this is when you can surprise them with bishop takes d7 first. That just looks like a normal check, but after king takes, you are going to win their queen after taking their dark squared bishop with check, and that's how they lose the queen on a5. So while these traps and tricks look cheap, they are so important that you need to know them, because they may sharpen your tactical skills and your chess understanding overall. So just to run you through the actual game that I played against my opponent, I switched over to another opening idea after noticing that my opponent wasn't going to fall for my Leonid Gambit trap. So I played knight to f3, inviting bishop g4, and this is how the actual trap goes, guys. See this? After they play bishop g4, this is when we go bishop c4, so that if black plays the normal looking knight f6, we can then execute the same trap, same trick of sacrificing our queen on d1 by going knight e5, double attacking black's light squared bishop as well. The best black can do is to play bishop e6, not bishop takes d1, because that allows mate in 1 on f7, bishop takes f7 checkmate. And that's what happened in the game that I played. So let me challenge another opponent to try out another gambit. Alright, here we go again. Let me still start with pawn to e4, because that's what I love. Okay, so there we see pawn to d6, the PS defense. Against this, I like playing pawn to e5, which sets up a little trap, not really expecting black to blunder with knight f6, which they do. Alternatively, I can also play pawn to d4 and just, transpose into the normal PS defense. But since this speed run is all about gambits, let me just go with e5, gambiting my pawn. In blitz, most of my opponents play knight f6, but that's not the idea. So after pawn takes, the whole idea is knight f3, attacking the pawn. If pawn to e4, I go knight g5, counter-attacking the pawn. Okay, so there we see bishop g4 again. So you can see most 1800s like pinning knights. So I can already see the same checkmate sequence coming after something like e4 and knight e5, sacrificing my queen on... What did I say? I mean, pawn to e4 allows me to sacrifice my bishop on f7 right away. Then after king takes, go knight e5 check and win the light squared bishop on g4. But I can just go knight e5, sacrificing my queen on d1 once again, because I'm double attacking the light squared bishop. And let me see what my opponent is going to do this time. Bishop e6 is the best move in this specific line. There we see another blunder in the same style. So bishop takes f7 is simply checkmate, guys. What is wrong with these people? People must learn to be patient. What was so difficult about that position? So you see, guys, sometimes it's not just about learning new openings and tricks. It's also about sharpening your skills through solving chess puzzles and by also practicing some chess tactics out there. You can find a lot of chess tactics and puzzles on Lichess or chess.com, I guess. So that's how you sharpen your tactical skills to avoid blundering like that. Let me just show you what I was expecting to see in the actual game. After e4 and pawn to d6, the PS defense, I like playing pawn to e5, especially in blitz. That's if I want to test my opponent's patience, because most of them just blaze out knight f6, which loses their knight immediately. But I should mention to say that's not the main idea. I just want black to take my pawn on e5 so that I can now develop my knight on f3, and after pawn to e4, I can go knight g5, turning this back into the Tennyson Gambit. I made a full video on this, so I'm not gonna repeat content. You know how the Tennyson Gambit goes. After pawn takes, you have to take back with your bishop, the light squared bishop, and pawn to h6 is what most people play on the 6th move, after which you now sacrifice your knight on f7, double attacking their queen and rook, and after king takes, you now go bishop g6 check, and on the next move you win their queen on d8. Right, guys, thank you for your support, and I hope you liked this video as well. If you did, please don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because that's what encourages me to keep on making more wonderful videos just like this one. Also, be sure to check out my courses at www.casperchess.com and learn some serious chess beyond these gambits, tricks and traps. Hope to see you soon in my next video. Until next time, bye bye.